Hi, good day everyone. My name is Chibuike and I'm the CEO of Duchess Digital, a technology company that powers digital customer acquisitions, customer engagement and retention in Africa. We help businesses to attract right audience, to target their communications to the right people, to also help them to engage their existing customers and to build that personalized communication with businesses, with their audiences. Today, I'm going to be talking about Africa, looking at the opportunities, trends, and challenges of doing business in here. It's really important for businesses that are looking at expansion or looking at doing business in Africa or already doing business in Africa. No doubt, Africa is the next big frontier across the globe, and there's an unwritten competition for market share and grabbing for a share of Africa. And those things are built around the enormous resources in terms of human resources, in terms of economic and natural resources in Africa, and also the huge market that portends. And there are a lot of trends that we're already seeing, and that's not without a challenge. These are the things we'll be exploring in this piece within this period. Now, the opportunities in Africa are similar to the opportunities we also see in emerging markets. We have a growing number of educated people, high growth of middle class income earners that are moving from along the value chain. We also have this middle income people having a change in culture, questioning what's been obtainable before and what has been the situation in time past, and also adopting new ways of doing things. We also have opportunities in the demand for infrastructure, which is the bedrock upon which every other thing is built. Things around roads, things around telecommunications, things around internet, things around water, things around health, the basic things that are infrastructural. One key thing around here is the fact that the governments in Africa cannot effectively provide the infrastructure that their people need, and so it's an opportunity for investments, the opportunity for businesses to invest in their aspect on a PPP, and then provide sustenance and then work with government on that. We also have opportunities in the skills, which is low cost skills for businesses. So for companies that are looking at high costs of human resources in Europe, high cost of human resources in America, and of in China, Africa gives another opportunity for them to get quite really low cost resources in that. And then there's also opportunities for acquisition of companies. So a number of businesses are quite springing up in Africa. In fact, this period is quite enormous, and so some of these businesses are either doing things that are already done in the US or already done in other parts of the world. And for some of the businesses globally that want to expand, so it's an opportunity to look at a business in Africa that's doing something similar to that, and either you acquire or you go into partnerships. The population in Africa is one of the biggest potentials that we have. Like in Nigeria, where we have an average age of people we have of 19 years, and we have about 200 million people with an average age of 19 years. It means it presents a very strong opportunity for growth, very strong opportunity for consumption. And you could see that consumption for these people is presently $4 trillion, and it's going to be $6.6 trillion by 2030. and the population is only going to grow from 1.2 billion to about 1.7 billion. That's adding 500 million people on the globe within the period of 7 years. And then consumption is going to grow by 50% from 4 trillion to 6.6 trillion. And of course, we have, like I said earlier, we have very fast growing middle class, and the demand for consumption is quite huge. Now, this consumption is both in physical goods, is both in economic goods, is both in digital goods. They're gonna eat, they're gonna clothe, they're gonna need housing, they're gonna need transportation, they're gonna need logistics, they're gonna need internet, they're gonna need the good things of life. So it's a big market for every business, global. Another opportunity is around industrialization. So just as Africa is growing in population, industrialization is also growing, and one key aspect of that is the technology sector. So from Nigeria, we have a peak number of businesses jumping around in technology, especially things around fintech. So we've got some of our businesses that have become billion-dollar worth of businesses. They've joined the Unicorn Group, Unicorn Club, and there are a number of other businesses that are coming up. And industrialization is also going around in the agricultural sector, where young Nigerians are adopting technologies that are going to improve seedlings, technologies that are going to improve agricultural outputs. So they're trying to solve some of the things that are going to be big problems to these 1.7 billion people that are coming on board. And there's also going to be a shift from of manufacturing from China to low-cost places. So we could see that happening in Rwanda. We also see some part of that happening in China, where companies that had manufacturing factories in China are finding some manufacturing processes in Rwanda. They're also manufacturing in Ghana. We also see tourism, especially in Togo, in South Africa, and other parts. And a key part of it is the fact that we're having cheaper and more skilled labor that are able to provide labor for this industry. Now, but a bigger opportunity also lies in infrastructure. So the development that we're expecting and the growth and the good life that we all want in Africa are still lies on the availability and the ease of accessibility of infrastructure. So I want to call internet as a basic infrastructure which we need in Africa. With about 1.2 billion people, we still have about 40% internet penetrations. And some countries in Africa, it's as low as 20%, and in some countries, it's just a little above 50%. And it means we have a huge number of people that are yet to be connected to the internet. And the internet has become the superhighway and the environment within which the next world order is going to operate. So that infrastructure is still not deep in this market, and internet provision is one thing that's going to grow. And then we also look at power. So like in Nigeria, or some countries, some cities in Nigeria rarely have 4 hours power supply in a day, and the peak, some of them just have about, it's still not stable. So we see that as an opportunity for foreign investment, opportunity for businesses that are looking to expand, or they're looking to do business, to look at power. I had a discussion with a few people, and we looked at and we said that the person who is able to crack the power grid in a country like Nigeria, we're looking at a country with 200 million people, and we don't have power supply. So if a company is able to crack the power grid in Nigeria, there's no limit to what they can do. That runs into trillions of dollars in revenue. That runs into trillions of dollars in value-added services and other related businesses. So power, it's one thing in Nigeria that is begging for a revolution. It's begging for innovation, and it's an aspect that is yet to be cracked. Of course, there's government interferences, there are individual attempts, but none of them has been at scale. We also have roads where we expect that businesses are going to provide things that are going to make roads and logistics quite better. So this has not been solved in Nigeria, but we see high growth area in telecom and internet, which is quite easier and does not depend on some of these things, but everything revolves around. And then we also have the African Free and Continental Trade Agreement. So this agreement was just signed in 2020, and it enables African countries to easily move goods around from one country to another. It also enables services and other things that are manufactured in one African country to be distributed and sold in another African country. Now, I can't explain deep on this because it's so wide, but the free trade agreement makes Africa one big market of 1.2 billion people, one big market of 4 trillion purchasing goods and services, one big market of consumption. So you look at places in Nigeria where it's become easy for registration of businesses with the huge populations, and also manufacturing or doing business in Nigeria means that you're also going to have ability to do business across countries like Ethiopia, countries like Kenya, countries like Ghana, countries like South Africa, because these are countries that once you are able to get Nigeria, then you're able to have an entry into them. And then South Africa has the highest number of GDP per capita and the highest number of high income earners, and South Africa also has some quality in terms of economy and all that. So that means the purchasing power in South Africa is quite better than the purchasing power in Nigeria. The economy in South Africa is quite more structured, and it's also an opportunity for businesses to establish services. It's also a place to establish services that are going to cut across Africa. So you see that the biggest telecommunications in Africa are currently from South Africa, and because they're given the environment for technology, environment for growth in other aspects. We also see things in Togo like tourism. The internet is also booming and it's coming up. So goods produced in Africa have very little limitations around export, because moving from one country to another becomes quite. Now, and now look at the trends. It's not only Africans that have seen the opportunities that are in these. We've also seen other people out of Africa seeing opportunities that are in Africa, and then there are trends that are happening in Africa which we see are going to be good. Some of them are going to be fantastic, and some of them are going to be not so great. Currently, we see the influence of Chinese companies and Chinese telecom, Chinese original equipment manufacturers, Chinese mobile phones, and this has been quite good for the African consumer. So an example of that is the fact that a mobile phone in the US is probably going to cost you close to $1,000 to acquire, but with the help of the OEMs from China, so a smartphone in Nigeria is just about $30 to $40, which makes it easier, and then which also brings a lot of people into the internet, to creating the number of people that are going to join the internet economy. We also have a highest number of technology businesses that are jumping up. So Africans that have gotten knowledge from the internet have expanded that by creating businesses, leveraging on technology, and then growing that. There's also explosion of remote work, where businesses in different parts of the world are locating developers, locating content providers, locating workers out of Africa who provide the key things or basic things that help to run their things like customer service, software developers, web designers and all that. So you see that happening, but that's not without the devaluation in the currency for a number of African countries. So the stability in the economy is quite challenging, but it's what we see and what businesses have to make considerations of when they're looking into getting into the market. Then the internet penetration is increasing considerably, and the cost of also getting onto the internet is reducing. So with the help of a mobile phone for about $35 and less than $10 internet subscription, you're on the internet in Africa. So it's quite easier now to get on the internet, making everyone a global citizen, or making everyone to join the internet. We also see a lot of businesses adopting business softwares, things like accounting, things like customer service, and then digital marketing. Programmatic advertising for sure is growing in Africa, and a lot of businesses responding to the digital challenge. The pandemic quite alright has made it quite imperative for businesses in Africa to go digital, and one key thing around us here is we do things in mass. So when there's a bandwagon effect towards going digital, everyone goes digital. So there's a of softwares that help businesses do that. Then there's an increased investment from foreign investors. We have more African companies, more African startups joining the Y Combinator in the US, which means that a group of angel investors and private equities and VCs are looking at Africa as the source or as the next big place for increase in investment, which also means that investment in Africa to return higher returns. So you see the growth potentials or the growth trajectory that across. So putting $100,000 in an African company over 10 years is going to return about 191,000, even without a minimum of 191,000, and in other places it's actually going to return 180,000. This is the worst case scenario, but investments in Africa have been really great. I've seen companies who have 15 to 16 times their return on investment within a period of 4 years. So quite impressive. We also see that Africa is a mobile first market where users, probably a vast majority of users, don't even have experience of working with desktop internet, because the mobile phone has become the first and only access a lot of people have to the internet. And as a result of that, a lot of businesses that are coming up are building big things around how they're going to use mobile phones for fintech, mobile phones for other apps, mobile phones for every other thing. So you're going to be seeing some companies like Uber doing very big business in Africa. Bolt and Spotify, Deezer, and a lot of technology companies are coming in because Africans are first mobile users, and a whole lot of activities they do are on. But that's not without challenges, you know. The challenges in Africa are quite interesting, and one has to quite understand them when you are coming in before you make move. So. While we have a huge population, which is a blessing, there's also another part of it, which is a caveat that the social problems that come with huge populations could turn youths to be unemployed, and that could become a problem to any business that's coming up here. We also have devaluing currencies, which affect investment. So if you've put in money to invest in businesses and there's a devaluation, you also consider the fact that your money has lost value. The company could have grown, but your money has lost value. There are also the non-existent or low implications from laws and non-existent laws that protect brands and all that. One thing I must tell people is the fact that it's more difficult in Africa to implement intellectual property laws. It's more difficult to effectively enforce certain rules. So take that into mind. And under other economic realities, the fact that the purchasing power in Africa is not the same as the purchasing power in Europe. It's not the same as the purchasing power in America. So you need to take that into consideration. Then we have government policies where we have instabilities in government. Government can change rules, and you could have built a business, and one government policy alone can effectively destroy the business or wipe you out of the market. So you have to make provisions for that. And then the currency is unstable, and then the supply and distribution chain is not defined. So you need to consider things, and also the fact that in the business side, there's the shortage in capital, and then the consumer knowledge is quite not clear. So you have to understand, have a deep understanding the consumers behave. But one thing I must recommend is when you are moving into a market or when you're doing business in Africa, you have to have a clear understanding of who your customer is. What kind of thing are you offering to that customer? Yeah, 1.2 billion people is a great market, but you need to understand whether if it's your market actually 1.2 billion, or is it just 100,000, or is it just a 1 million group of people within that who are willing to buy and able to buy those things. Then the business models in Africa have to be quite different from what is obtainable elsewhere. So we have to craft a business model that is pan-African, and that's why you need the input of locals to understand the business model that works here, and then break it down into what is most usable. Then deploy technologies that are going to help you effectively manage your business, to effectively run and scale that business. Now that technology could be pan-African, that technology has to be something that is quite unique to this. And then of course our advice every business to tap into the low costs of labor in Africa, the fact that we have people, the taxes are low, the living standard is low, the maintenance of human beings, or the cost of living is quite low. So Africans are going to take quite a fraction of what you're going to pay to people in America. So for now, you're going to enjoy that. Then you also need to scale quickly. So while you are looking at Africa, there's an opportunity for you to scale. You're not the only one looking at that. Other businesses are also expecting that. So the earlier you scale, the better for you. And then when you scale, you can influence government. When you scale, you can influence consumers, and you can also you also need to develop a local management team. Administration of businesses internationally have a peculiar application in Africa, but with you'll be able to understand and then analyze your market. I'm going to stop here and take questions. There are other slides, but I want to just stop here so that I'll be able to take questions.